One of my favorite things about the book, and this is going back to like, just loving the setting, like since I was, like a teenager, is I always loved the magic in Krynn with what we'll be presenting in Shadow of the Dragon Queen as the Mages of High Sorcery. For anybody who's not familiar with them, they are essentially groups of mages that are aligned with both the 3 magical moons of Krynn, but then also have affiliations with different types of alignment. So you have the white-robed mages who are associated with Solamnia, the moon of good magic, the red-robed mages who are associated with Lunatari, the moon of neutral magic, and then the black-robed mages associated with Nuatari, the moon of evil magic. And these 3 schools of magic are together, known as the Mages of High Sorcery. Now, in the past, this group has had different names, but with 5th edition, we wanted to present them as a group of mages that isn't just wizards, that isn't just this one type of magic user. It's inclusive of all different types of magic users. So if you want to be a member of the Mages of High Sorcery, who is a sorcerer or a warlock, you absolutely have a place for that. But to get in to the Mages of High Sorcery, to be considered a true Mage of High Sorcery, you have to take a test. And the test is an infamous challenge that those who take it have the opportunity to gain their different colored robes and to be fully brought in as members of these different orders, or they might die, or they might lose their magic forever, or they might be changed in some other way. And that's such a core aspect of the Dragonlance setting that we couldn't just be like, and that happens off. So if you're playing a wizard, DMs run that. So it's something where, since we're allowing characters to play from a very early level, how do you address that? How does that work in the story? Particularly when typically these tests are administered in a limited numbers of places that are very much not where our story's at.
Yeah, right.
So in this particular case, you have the opportunity very early on with some of those sort of prelude adventure scenarios to get the gist of, all right, if you are on the track to becoming a Mage of High Sorcery, if that's something that you want to do, let's give you a download on all of that, and let's give you sort of what your next steps to that are. And then as a recurring beat, if a DM has characters that wants to explore that, there are elements throughout the course of the adventure that straight out point to, and here's what other Mages of the High Sorceries are helping you do, will help you to do, want you to do, and then in the course of the adventure, there is a moment where anybody who is playing one of these characters and has progressed to that point has the opportunity to have the test of High Sorcery administered to them in a very specific, atypical way, but one that is absolutely tied into the plot of the adventure and has the potential to jeopardize them in a way that's very different than the other threats they've faced.
It's like mixing the Gonjavar from Dune with the Sorting Hat. It's a rough test.
Well, in this particular case, it's not the test as we have seen it in the past.
Yeah, it couldn't be. It's a field test.
It is very much a field test, and it's one that's administered by a mage that last did this prior to the Cataclysm.
Interesting. I love that you can, because that's such a big part of, personally being a Dragonlance fan, taking that test. I have the choose your own, well, it's not called one.
Yeah.
But it's that adventure where you can decide where you go, where you actually take the test as Raceland, and so I've played through that a couple times, and I do still own it.
Well, it's also interesting, and I expect a few Dragonlance players are and fans are going to be interested. Like, cool. Can I die during it?
It sounds like
will
you
it
can.
kill me? And it's the sort of thing where it's like there's a lot going on during this test. And again, you're out in the field and you're doing things. But this is also something where, you know, we didn't say, here is the test. It is effectively, you know, a level 17 challenge. It is much more of a, all right, whoever's taking the test and the DM should work together to create a narrative that is unique and meaningful for the test taker. And if in the course of the test, they learn something about themselves. Like, all this time, I've been gunning for the white robes, but when push comes to shove...
I like push that comes to shove, but
that's right.
Push comes to shove.
When that comes up, did I behave more like a neutral character? Did I behave more like a black-robed member of the Order? So they have the potential to come out of that very different than they were expecting. And if part of those revelations is, maybe this isn't who I want to be, maybe that has different ramifications for your story.